Viewpoint. We're going to settle down here. We were talking about yard waste and so forth. I don't think I'll go any further.
In no uncertain terms.
I just talked about sweet gumballs and take it from there. Viewpoint.
Oh, dear, they are the scourge of the earth. All due respect to Art Gimble and whoever his sidekick was that ordered all those trees.
They were an aberration.
But, people have hurt themselves tripping over those on the sidewalk.
Think about the folks who have to wear the streets now. It's a huge problem.
Oh, they get in the
sewers. This is about personalities, politicians, and perspectives. We don't have any politicians, but we sure got a couple of personalities and perspectives.
Oh, I don't know. They kind of politic, in the broadest sense.
Did you have any beautiful quotes of note that you wanted to open up with this morning?
Well, yeah, but I wasn't prepared.
Well, you got to get with it this morning. This is Viewpoint.
I'll tell you a good one, okay?
All right, tell us. I'm sitting, waiting.
Oh, don't you remember?
We're on the air live. You must remember that.
Yeah. Don't you remember last week I had those kids in church ones?
Oh, yeah, those were cute.
Anybody who's ever had kids or nieces or nephews and gone to church with them has from time to time faced embarrassing situations, right? Okay? One particular 4-year-old prayed, "And forgive us our trash baskets as we forgive those who put trash in our baskets."
Well, there's a certain analogy there that kind of rings true, Really.
Yeah.
Well, so something came through here about a visionary, and the fellow said, I almost had a psychic girlfriend, but she left before we could meet.
Well, oh dear.
Well, let's get right down to it. Oh, kudos. Obviously, there's only one kudo this morning in the light of the news of recent, and that would be those 40 brave men who jumped down the ropes, or rappelled is the word I'm looking for, into that compound and did away with Mr. Bin Laden. My goodness, folks, seriously, you think about the courage that took, and the training, the months and months and even years of training, and they pulled that off with great panache, and so.
However, yes, but cynic that I am, I do believe I'll still take their word for the fact that the deed has been done. I don't think I want to see the pictures. That's not necessary.
I'm going to offend somebody out there. We must have some Muslims in the Logan County. That'd be very few. Probably going to offend somebody, but I think instead of giving him all the rights that they said that they gave him, and according to the Muslim tradition, I think they just tossed him over the fantail. Been good enough for me. Anyway, let's get right on with our...
on that up note.
Yes, on that up note. We have with us, I'm going to let you do the introduction of our great guest.
Oh, well, yes. Marcia Greenslate and Roy Logan have been busily making a book for the summer season. Actually, it used to be that was the really busy time for the Lincoln Parks and Recreation District. However, now it's a busy time all the time, isn't it? Things have changed.
They have. Aren't we fortunate?
Yeah.
That's seriously, we are.
When we moved here, it was a little white house uptown.
I remember that.
Do you?
Barely.
Yes. Do you? Do you? Yes, but
Which was a roadhouse north of town before it was moved into Lincoln.
And became the White House uptown. But my friends who were born and raised here said that they had such good times there. And of course, just like all of us old people, we like progress, but not so much, However,
well, there's that to be said for a lot of us.
As time goes by, we've found that this new district is just the berries. And the city people can be like a member automatically because we support it with our tax money, right?
You're considered an in-district person because you pay taxes. So you still have to buy a membership to the sports center if you want to. You can pay daily fees, but it is a reduced rate.
And it's a very nominal membership, by the way. It doesn't cost very much at all.
Well, it doesn't even cost very much for the people from outside the city limits.
It's the best bargain going around, I'll tell you that. Particularly if you want to try to live a little longer and stay in better shape.
Well, how many people on an average would you say you serve on a daily basis? Did you ever count them at the door?
Actually, no. Several hundred. It just depends on seasonal, what kind of activities we've got going on. But it's a good, steady crowd from 5 o'clock till about 9:30 at night. We're open every day. So it's good numbers, and we haven't seen any reduction in that because of the economy. So we're very pleased with that.
Well, you know, it's something that you can do for not a lot of money, and everybody's watching their purse strings.
Well, and I think, too, that the trend is that it's more economical to stay healthy and exercise in preventative medicine rather than waiting until I'm in a situation where I need restorative
That's pretty
services.
well put. That's exactly right.
I'm in and I'm in.
We see some folks out there, and I mean this very kindly, who waited too long. And God love them, they're out there working at it now and trying. But things would have been a lot easier if they'd have gotten it up there a little sooner. So you really, it's not just recreation per se, not that at all. This is a way of life for a lot of folks, and you have some folks out there who are really, really dedicated to helping themselves. And I'm talking about people that really work out a lot harder than I do.
Yeah, but you're very faithful.
Bill
I
is
try.
very faithful.
Yeah,
He's one of our...
But I noticed one thing. You've changed the weights. Those 300-pound weights are a little bit lighter.
Well, that's probably just because you're getting in better shape. You Bill. I'm sure.
It's like your age. 300 is now the new 250.
I'm sorry. I confess I added, as they say, a cipher there. I meant 30-pound weights.
It's just a matter where you put the decimal point in that zeros.
No, seriously, there are a lot of people who do that. But then over and above the workout area, which is really great, you have a lot of activities going on out there day in and day out. Some days you go out there during the basketball season, see all these little rugrats on Saturday morning running around out there, and it's a joy. It's fun to just stand there and watch them. And then they have baseball tryouts. I noticed that just recently, and boy, that was organized down to a science. They had them all separated and to age groups, and had each one of these youngsters doing different things to see what their level of skills were. And that's just a little turn of the page of what you do out there. You have crafts still?
We have a few. Most of our programs geared towards children are in the summer. During the school year, kids are so busy, so we kind of focus on adults. But we try to have a wide and well-rounded assortment of programs, which Roy works on ambitiously. He's kind of bogged down a little bit with baseball right now because it's baseball season. So, but we've got a lot
Doesn't
of
it
things.
get easier, Roy, as the years go by? I mean, after you've done it so many times, you kind of work up a system, don't you?
You'd think, Judy, but we get busier, and that's a great thing. And we're always looking for something new to put out and to present.
And you do a good job of that.
Thank you. It's a group effort.
Yeah, we want to talk about that particularly. But also, one of the things that I noted is that you always get a bunch of volunteers out there, too.
Yes. What a blessing.
And that's important.
It's
You
a
couldn't
very-
run that program without
It's a very
those folks who are
important part,
volunteers.
and
Yeah.
if anybody in the listening area wants to volunteer, just give us a call. We'll find a program or an activity that you're suited for, and it certainly does help. Volunteers are awesome, and we wouldn't be as successful as we are without them.
And if they don't want to volunteer for you, by the by, they could call me and I'll set them up volunteering at the hospital.
Let's take page 3 of your program that you put out here today. Let's go at the top of the page and Funny Business 101. Let's discuss that a little bit.
I'll tell you, that is such a treat. That is with Julie Larson.
Very
He is the
talented
creator of the dinette set. And that's, something that I'm really kind of proud of. It's a flagship program for us because park districts in Springfield and Bloomington and other areas, a host of areas, they don't have that to offer.
Really?
Yeah.
And this is
But Julie
fun.
comes out with us for 3 days, and she explores your imagination, and she teaches you what she does as a profession. And it's a wonderful opportunity for young people, and I'd really like to see them take advantage of that.
Well, and the thing is, some of these young kids, boys I think more often than girls, really are artistic, and they like to draw fictional characters, but they do it beautifully. Even young kids, grade school kids.
Yeah. Well, and yet the neat thing of it is, and this is something that puts just a total Midwest spin on it, is that we had a young boy did it one year, and he was from an agricultural family. And his superhero was involved with the grain bins and the side, the John Deere tractor and farm equipment. And the city kids, theirs were more of like, somebody in an attic or something. Just the neat way that every one of their minds worked.
Oh, yes. But that is fun. You have your setting where you, in fact, had your setting.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
You meet 3 times, as Julie meets with these youngsters, you say 3 times a week?
3 days.
3 days a week.
Yep, we'll do a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We hang out for about, an hour, and it usually spills over to more than that, because the kids are just kind of really into it. And once they get in their groove and their niche, they just want to keep exploring.
Well, she'd have a great rapport with kids, too, so that works out very well. Very creative.
Yeah, but we're looking at June 13th, 14th, and 15th, so pencil us in on your calendar.
9 to 11. 6th grade and up, by the by.
Yeah.
So we're not taking the really little kids. Well, that's just as well.
Well, it took somebody away from the television for a while. They do something constructive.
There you are.
Really. Down below on the second part of that page, Nathan Turner Memorial Fishing Clinic in Derby. That's very neat.
That is so nice.
I wish I knew who hatched that idea, because I'd certainly like to doff my hat to them.
Well,
that's pretty neat.
You'd have to do that with Nathan's family and his wife.
Very nice.
For those of you who remember, Nathan was a city councilman.
Yes.
Who passed away.
Young men.
Very, very young age. A very tragic loss to our community and to his family. And they came to us. And it was something that Nathan did as a young person himself, was participate in the fishing derby. And that's been going on for quite a number of years. And we were fortunate enough to partner with the DARE program and Chief of Police Ken Greenslate. And it's just been a real fun thing. Nathan's family has underwritten much of the cost, which has been a great help to all of us. And it's a free event. And it's for these reasons that we can do this. And we start on Tuesday evening on the 7th, and we have a fishing clinic. And I got Herb Dreyer. He's with the Department of Natural Resources. And he comes up and he teaches the kids all about fishing. And he's got hooks that are like wire, and they're like, 10 inches big, Marsh? And they've got like light rope instead of fishing line. So it's all big stuff that the kids can handle easily. And they talk about different bait and one of the things we do at the Park District is we recycle our cans.
Yeah.
And so I just squirrel away that money, and then, just before the event, we go out and we purchase some Zebco rod and reels. And this is a little starter upset, got a little plastic tackle box, but it's enough to get you going if you don't have anything. And we have drawings. And so if you're fortunate enough to win, and then on Saturday, we go to Hickory Lane Campground up in Atlanta. And generally it's just been recently stocked, and we have the fishing derby.
That's neat.
And Chief of Police Greenslate, he'll fix hot dogs, and we have sodas and chips for everybody at the end. And you fish for a couple hours, and it's the prizes for the biggest fish, the smallest fish, the most, And it's a fun time.
That's great. And that's not just for boys. Let's say girls can do that too.
Oh, heck yeah.
Please. Yeah.
Covers is age 4 to 15. So you've got a broad spectrum there of youngsters that get involved there.
That is so nice.
And we encourage the parents to come.
Well, bless their hearts, Nathan's family.
We feed and water them as well.
And that's good.
That's
good.
And we should note that that's a free offering to the youngsters here and the families in the community. Something near and dear to the old geezer would be the golf camp. That's a great thing to have. It's a great thing for me to see youngsters out on a golf course. Some of the old timers, they just don't get it. Damn kids holding everything up. Well, they don't, they don't get the picture at all. We've got to have these youngsters coming on. And how do you think these old codgers learned? Somebody had to teach them. So we need to step aside and give the course to these kids once in a while, and let them enjoy it, and let them know and not only how to play golf, but there are certain rules and etiquettes and things that can carry over into life that are important. So let's talk about that golf program just a little bit.
You know, I'll tell you, Bill, the neat thing is we give them the opportunity to explore all of that. We start out Monday through Thursday. We're on our driving range. And a few years ago, I asked one of our participants, and she's been a great friend of the Park District, and I really value her opinions. I said, what did you think? She goes, Monday through Thursday were the most boring days of my life. She says, but when I got out there on that course on Friday, suddenly everything came alive, and I realized what it was all about. She goes, I couldn't believe how much I had improved. I couldn't believe it. She goes, and suddenly I felt like I was actually in a little bit of control. You can talk to Marcia.
Nice.
Marcia's taken the class.
Yes, I'm a veteran of the class and really a novice. Had just hit some balls off the driving range. But it was awesome. I learned a lot, and I enjoy golf. I haven't been able to play much just because of time restrictions, but it's very cool. Kids, adults and kids are in the same classes a lot of times because of weather issues. Maybe it's too hot in the afternoon and we all meet in the morning. But had a great times with the kids, and a lot of those kids have a lot of talent and a lot of desire. So it's not only a learning class, but it's a fun class. I think one thing good about all of our classes, camps, activities is it's an interactive between kids. Maybe we don't have a lot of experience with being in that atmosphere, so it's just really cool.
I noticed we have Doug Dean to help you out again. Doug's ought to be a very good instructor, particularly with the youngsters, patience, and Lord knows it takes a lot of that. Golf is not just a natural sport for a lot of people. There are a lot of little things, little nuances you have to try to remember as you bring that club back, and what you're going to do after you get it back there. And it takes a teaching pro like Doug to be able to get people to get in the groove and find out how they can enjoy the game.
Well, one of the things that I appreciate about the program is Doug and the expertise that he brings to us and shares. But on Friday, everyone goes to Four Willows Golf Course in Mason City, and it's actually a golf outing that as a young adult or as a senior you would participate in. Perhaps at the Elks as a fundraiser for the DARE program or the hospital or something. And we just give them hot dogs and hamburgers. You don't get a really nice dinner, but you get
Nice love it is perfect.
And it's 9 holes of golf, and everybody just has a good time. And by then, you've kind of bonded with your classmates, and you're all in it together. So it's a good experience.
Do you notice every year some kid who's going to rise above the rest and maybe someday really take up the game?
Well, we're hoping. And
Well, I've thought that for almost 88 years.
You have to be optimistic, that's for sure.
Well, hope they don't forget us when they get going good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, Bill talks about looking forward to this for 88 years. That's the thing about golf. You finally come to the point where football and basketball are pretty much out of the question. Do you suppose, Bill?
I noted that about 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah. But golf is forever. It's just a wonderful pastime. You can be outdoors, and you don't have to be texting all your friends.
If you remember where you hit the ball.
Well, there's that.
Or
Take
see
a
where you
spotter.
hit the ball. That's always my problem.
There's an old story about golfers, and this one guy always wanted to play with this foursome, but he was kind of a pain in the derriere, and they really didn't want him around. And finally, one of the foursome died, and he said, well, we better bring Doug in. We got to be nice to him, because after all, we can't see, and he's the only one that's got decent eyesight, and he can see where we hit it. And so the first day they get out there, and you got that, Doug? Roy says, yeah. Roy said, now be sure and watch that. And he, yeah, I got him. And they all go. They start looking for the ball after they hit off the tee. Well, where did it go, Doug? He said, I don't know. I forgot.
Sometimes it's better that way.
That happened to me sometimes already.
Doug really is an awesome instructor.
Now, you have a hunting education course. That's very important. There's not a whole lot of hunting. Well, I guess I'd be surprised how much hunting goes on around here now. But you're teaching youngsters how to handle firearms. Tell us a little bit about that hunting education.
Well, that's a program that we host, and we've done that for a number of years. And it's just a group of area young men who who share their Saturday and a Friday evening. You have to come to both. And according to Illinois law now, you have to have gone through this course in order to get a hunting license and to qualify, for your FOID card and et cetera. So you start out on Friday evening. They got a light snack for you, and then you come back and you spend the day Saturday. And there's a sack lunch on Saturday. Warren Wendland has been involved in that in the past. So
Is that right?
you know it's going to be
They're going to eat pretty good sack lunch.
it's going to be a good box lunch.
Yes.
And at the end, you'll qualify for your exam.
Is there some way in which you would not qualify other than not having come to the two
You're right,
sessions?
Judy. Yeah. You need both days.
But other than that, everybody qualifies?
Pretty much, yeah. And it's just a really good thing. They teach a lot of safety, a lot of the laws about hunting game and stuff. And it's a difficult course to find. And so, in all honesty, we're lucky to have that offered once a year here in Logan County. We get people that drive. We've had them as far away as Jacksonville. And I know of another instance where they hoteled it overnight just to come to this
Is
class.
that right?
And it's filled to capacity, so there's a lot of interest in it.
Well,
It's
people
filled with
better get on
capacity,
the
hasn't
ball then if there is a capacity.
Yeah, and it's in the budget. The guys put this on for free. They've got some sponsorship.
I noted that. That's a free clinic here, for goodness
Yeah.
sakes.
Now,
Again, let's see, the age, all ages. Well, of course, it goes without saying that common sense kicks in there somewhere along the line, and you're not going to have 4- and 5-year-old kids out there.
right.
And what would be the lowest age that would be appropriate for youngsters in this?
We're seeing 7- and 8-year-olds.
Really? That
Yeah.
young?
Well, and a lot of times, they're out there doing the pheasant hunting. They're old enough to hike through the fields, the corn and stuff, to look. And we've got 7- and 8-year-olds
That's interesting.
and on up. But it's been that if you're born on or after January 1st, 1980. So, outside of us old codgers, there's a lot of need
My
for
way.
it.
You guys sat there and said that and looked right directly at me.
That was rude.
It's a small room. There's not too many people.
Yeah, where do you want me to look around? I couldn't put Jim on the spot.
Well, now, let's see. Marcia, tell us a little about T-ball. That's another baseball activity for you, introducing youngsters to baseball.
T-ball is just a lot of fun. We've had super experiences with it through many, many years, and I know if we're having a tough day at work or whatever, we just go out and watch the kids play T-ball because they are just super fun. A lot of them have absolutely no experience, know anything about it. I remember one year we had one youngster, a little boy, and he would go from home plate to the pitcher's mound to first base, back to the pitcher's mound to second base. He always went back to the pitcher's mound all the way around, and it was just hysterical. But it's strictly an instructional program. They play games, but they usually end up ties.
Yes.
And it's a really cool activity for those kids. We have a lot of younger kids too, but because of their parents, they're well on the way of being past T-ball when they're even T-ball age. So there's a little bit difference in need for them, but it's just a super cool program, and a lot of the parents will find that maybe my child really isn't interested in baseball, and T-ball's a good step to see that.
May I ask you a personal question?
In front of everybody?
Oh, it's on the air at that. Boy.
Remember, we're on the air.
I didn't ever have any of my kids participating in baseball, but friends who had sons, of course, had participants. And I can remember one friend telling me about the kids were doing just fine, but the parents were pretty much out of control. I don't suppose you face that in T-ball, but how do you handle it? Can you be ejected from the game for rude and
We
whatever?
don't have it as much in T-ball. You have parents who think that their kids maybe are more advanced for T-ball, and because of the way that is simply structured, you really don't have that big competition with games. I will let Roy address it as far as the older ages and parents.
Bill, do you get the feeling I've said something that was better unsaid?
Well, as long as we got our foot in it.
That's right. let's just throw the whole bucket out while we're at it.
I just take my foot out of my mouth to get the other one in.
Well, there's a sad truth to have it insofar as some parents are concerned.
It is.
We ought to address that.
It is an unfortunate experience, and we like to focus on the fact that we are recreational baseball and softball, and that all of our leagues are still about the learning facets.
Exactly.
Even with our more senior kids. And sometimes we just need to be reminded that.
Well,
and I'll share with you, Bill.
Yeah.
The scouts really don't come to Lincoln to look for baseball players, okay?
Not so much. Although one used to live right out in Beeson, a scout.
Did, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness gracious, Ellsworth Brown. He used to call him White Sox all the time.
Is that right?
Well, he was an early, before he was scouted for the Minneapolis group, he was a White Sox scout.
The Minneapolis group is called the Twins.
I know, I wanted to get that in there. I just wanted to make sure you had that.
We do. Our programs, our baseball, girls softball, they really are instructional, recreational. We stress that there are some leagues in town who are more competitive, and that's where those young people end up. And they do a lot of traveling, so there's opportunities for whatever you're
Level
looking
you
for.
are.
Mhm.
Oh, traveling, baseball and basketball is great fun for parents and grandparents if they get their mind under perspective of what it's all about. But most people do. But once in a while you get somebody that gets to go crossways. I see Julie Larson's back in the program again here with the tennis.
She is.
That's just, and of course that's a tennis family. They were all great tennis players, every one of them.
You're right.
And so let's tell us a little about that program here.
Well, we'll take you from kindergarten all the way up, and we break them down by age divisions and times, so that you're in there kind of with people in your own peer group. And again, it's Julie Larson and a love of kids, and a lot of times she brings her daughters with her. I'm not sure if that's a willing thing to get out of bed that early on a summer morning, but
they're three great kids.
they are. They are
They're wonderful
awesome.
kids.
And every one of them, they're an athlete in themselves.
Yes, they
and
are.
so, it's really kind of neat to have, just that love of a game and love of kids, and to watch the two
So
come
they
together.
all the kids help her with it then, her own children.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. That's great. And there again, tennis is such a wonderful game because, my goodness, our neighbor,
Yes.
Emery Gaffney, played tennis
Until just very recent years.
very recently.
Competitively,
Pretty much forever,
and that's one of the reasons why Emery's been in such great shape now. And again, it's trying to keep yourself active and keep your mind involved in doing something else besides being a couch potato.
There you are.
Now, we have a great thing that has not to do with athletics, but it has to do with the development of youngsters. I noted here that you have a little section called Putting on a Play.
We do, and that's for kids 9 years old and up. We are so fortunate this year. We have Kenneth Kendall and
boy.
Stephanie Meyer.
Oh, boy.
Kenneth is the director for theater with Lincoln College, has a master's degree.
Yeah, we just had Kenneth in here a couple weeks ago.
Well, then I'm not going to expound on that, because you know what a gift that is.
Oh, he is a gift to us, yes.
And just really looking forward to working with him. I've sat down, we've talked 2 or 3 different occasions, and just a wonderful dynamic personality. And I think he's someone who will even take the shyest of children and bring them out of their shell. And he and Stephanie, they have quite a history in theater. And they've done a lot of children's theater in the Chicagoland area, and we couldn't be happier to partner with him.
Well, it's a great outlet. Not all kids are athletic. We have to understand that.
You're right,
know?
Bill.
And again, it's something to keep them involved and perhaps develop something that they'll enjoy in later years in high school. And it's just really a neat program to have available for the kids in our community.
Well, the neat thing with it is it's a week-long program, Monday through Friday, and you go from 9 to 4. And there's all kinds of different theatrical exercises and games that they'll play. And the kids go swimming every afternoon for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And if it's raining and we can't swim, we'll find you some court space to do something to burn off some energy. But great opportunity.
Well, we've got so involved in this, we forgot to take a station break. And if we can turn the control back to Mr. Ash, away we go.